Oh, yeah, here we go again. Hello, and welcome into Ray on Sports. I am your host, Johnny Ray. In this podcast, we talk all things sports from my own opinion. You may agree or you may disagree, but all I do is ask that you listen. So come on in, buckle up, and let's take this ride. Hey, once again, welcome into Johnny Ray for Ray on Sports. I am your host, Johnny Ray for Ray on Sports. And in this episode, we're going to talk a little, talk a little NFL, talk a little college football, talk about the Clippers. Wow. Did anybody see that one coming? The Clippers got in trouble. Clippers got in trouble. Clippers got in trouble. Clippers got in trouble. The reason I'm saying it like that because I'm a down-hard Laker fan, and anything having the Clippers get in trouble, I have fun with it. But it's all to the good. Anyway, this week let's start. We talking about the NFL first. First of all, the NFL season is back. Woohoo! Welcome the NFL back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. First game was Thursday night. We had the Cowboys versus the Eagles. Pretty good game. I kind of watched a little bit of it. Eagles won the game 20-24. Dak Prescott, 21 for 34, 188 yards. Jalen Hurts did pretty well as well. But for the most part, it's Cowboys versus the Eagles. What can you say? Did the Cowboys look like they missed Micah Parsons? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But it was a pretty good game. I watched the majority of it. I was bowling that night. So I bowl. But I was bowling that night, so I really didn't catch too much of that game. I was watching a little bit of it. Then I saw the rain delay, and then I got back to it. But one thing I did see was the incident that happened right before the game started with Jalen Carter and Dak Prescott. That was crazy. You spit in no circumstances and in no arena should you ever spit on another player. I don't care how upset you get. I don't care how mad you get. You should never do that. That should never be a part of your demeanor or your mental state. And what that does is it casts a shadow on you, and it actually puts what does it do? It puts a label on your back that everybody's looking at, like, oh, this guy. If you irritate him, this is what's going to happen to him. So don't ever do that. Don't ever think about things like that. That happens. Same thing in the workplace. If you are at work and you do something wrong to your employee, then everybody around your job will think you're that guy. You're that person that if I get you mad enough, you're going to do something crazy to either lose your job or get suspended. So young people, when you're getting into sports, please remember, control your temper. I understand the games gets hard. I understand you get into the flow of it. I understand that, it's in the heat of the moment. I understand all that. But remember, in your mind, how's that going to reflect my future? This is one thing, and like you guys know, I am Christian, and I am a man of God. So I'm also a youth pastor. So with my youth, I put that question to them because I had a youth that said some things to me, and I told them, I said, what would Jesus do about that? And I explained to him, I said, what happens is when you put a persona out like that, that's the kind of person that everybody you come across, every teacher you come across, every student you come across is going to remember you. Listen to me. It's going to remember you for what you did. They're going to say, oh, that's the person that did X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to do this to either provoke that X, Y, and Z, or I'm going to do this to stay away from that X, Y, and Z. So you have to be mindful of the things you do in life. And here is Johnny Ray's inspirational message for the day before I get back into it. Be mindful. They said that your future I'm sorry, let me back up. Here's my inspirational message for the day. This is my podcast. I make mistakes, so I'm going to fix it. Here's my inspirational message for today. When you make mistakes in life, don't let your past dictate your future. Even if you messed up and you did something wrong in your past, do something better in your future so people can forget about your past. You got that? Do something better in your future so people will forget about your past. Do not let your past define you. Do not let your past let people know that the person you are. Let them know that you have grown from that. You're better than that. You're more stronger than that. And that was just a one-time incident. It goes on in Christian life. It goes in any life. Also in sports, when you become a bad boy in sports, that's all they remember you by is that bad person, that bad boy, that that's the person that did this. That's the person that did that. There's a lot of examples in sports. One is Ron Artest, who calls himself now Meta World Peace. But as Ron Artest, he was remembered as the guy who started the Malice at the Palace. No matter what his Hall of Fame career did, that's what he's going to remember at. The man who started the fight at the Malice at the Palace. And if you NBA buffs or young guys don't remember that, look it up. Look up Ron Artest, Malice at the Palace. You'll see what I'm talking about. It was something that happened. He lost his temper, went off on a fan, and it turned into a big melee. But for a long time in his career, that's what he was defined at. And that's what I mean by your past defining your future. Every time somebody saw him, I believe, and I'm not too sure about that, but I will look it up and get you the proper information on that. But they said that defined his majority of his career. And a lot of teams were not willing to take a chance on him because of what happened, because they said, okay, that's the kind of guy he is. See what I'm talking about? That's what I'm talking about. So the thing with getting back to Jalen Carter, what you have to do, and Jalen Carter, if you're listening, I love it. I love to hear you on the Ray on Sports podcast. If you hear this message on Ray on Sports podcast, hit me up at rayonsports0905@gmail.com. That's rayonsports0905 at gmail.com. And I would love to have you on my show and we can talk about it. Like I said, it could be a one-time thing. We don't want to speculate that this is the kind of person he is. I've heard some stories. I've heard some sports podcasters, and I've heard some information saying that this might be the kind of guy he is. But I won't take it to heart. I've never seen anything like that. I'm just going by what I hear on the socials, on ESPN, or different networks like that. But back to the game. After all that happened, going back to the game, pretty good game. Like I said, the Eagles won. Dallas actually looked pretty good. They didn't look that bad. The most thing that people was going to talk about as well, Dallas is going to look bad because they ain't got Micah Parsons. They ain't got anybody to rush the quarterback. They actually held the Eagles in check. It was a couple of heat plays here and there that kind of defined the game. But for the most part, I can say Dallas is going to be pretty good this year. Now, Cowboy fans, remember this. I'm not saying you guys are going to the Super Bowl. Stop saying that. God. I know I say that for my team. I'm the 49er fan, and every year I say we're going to make it. But at a certain part of the year, I can understand and say, you know what? We're not going too far. But it's something about those Cowboy fans, and Cowboy fans get mad at me, but I love it. Come to me, talk to me. We can talk about it. We can chop it up. I don't have no problem with it. I'm not going to hate on you. I'm not doing it like that. I'm just saying, majority of Cowboy fans that I know always say, this is our year. This is our year. This is our year. I say that about my team. Anybody says about their team that they're passionate about that, this is the year their team's going to win the Super Bowl. But you got to remember the personnel you have, the quarterback you have, the coaching staff that you have, your schedule, strength of schedule, all these things play a factor in how far you can go. And if you can get past all that, yeah, I think the movie was Any Given Sunday. What that means is that any given Sunday, a team can surprise another team. So, Cowboy fans, keep hope alive. Anyway, going on to the next game. Then they had a game on Friday night. And the game on Friday night was the Kansas City Chiefs, versus the San Diego Chargers. Now, that was a game. For right now, I would vote that as my game of the week. That was a good game. I watched the majority of that game. And one of the things that Patrick Mahomes said on how they played, he said that they came out more injured than we did. Yeah, Justin Herbert looked like he was a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. He went 25 for 34, 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was pretty good. Patrick Mahomes was Patrick Mahomes. Did his business. He was Patrick Mahomes. He ran when he scrambled when he needed to. He found receivers when he needed to. All the things that Patrick Mahomes does. Travis Kelce had 1 touchdown in the game. But Patrick Mahomes also, like I said, he ran. He had 6 carries for 57 yards, and he did run in 1 touchdown. So Patrick Mahomes was being Patrick Mahomes. When the game was on the line, he decided to know, who he was and what he needed for his team. Now, they did lose Xavier Worthy early in the game. I think they was running a crossing route, and him and what is his name? Sorry, him and Jason Kelce ran into each other. So that was, and they're saying that Xavier Worthy might be. I haven't seen the injury report yet, but they said he might be out for the next game, but we don't know yet. So with that being said, after that, we're going into week 1, which started on Thursday night, but on September 7th, we got some Sunday games coming up. We got the Buccaneers versus the Falcons. We got the Bengals versus the Browns. We got the Dolphins versus the Colts. Raiders versus the Patriots. Cardinals versus the Saints. Steelers versus the Jets. Giants versus the Commanders. The Panthers versus the Jaguars. Titans versus the Broncos. We got the 49ers and Seahawks versus the Seattle Seahawks. I'm sorry. The Lions versus the Packers. Texans versus the Rams. Ravens versus the Bills. And our Monday night game will be Vikings versus the Bears. Now, all these games, of course, I'm a Niner fan. I'm going to look at my game. Of course I am. But like I said before, I am a man of God, and I do go to church on Sunday. So if my game starts and I'm still at church, then it is what it is. I catch it later, or I'll catch the highlight, or it's, nothing that I do is above my God. Let me just put that out again. Nothing I do on this podcast or any other platform regarding sports, I do not put above my God. So if I have to be at church on not have to be, I choose to be. Let me rephrase that. Let me get that right for the record. I choose to be in church on Sunday. I choose to be in Bible study on Wednesday night. These are the things I choose to do. So if there's a game going on and I have to go, go to a worship experience, I choose the worship experience over anything because the game, the sport, anything like that is not going to get me where I need to go. And it's not going to get me closer to my God. And I'm not preaching on here, but I'll tell you this. The Bible says, do not have any other gods before me. And when they say that, it means sports. It means TV. It means anything else. Anything else that you try to put above God, that commandment goes for you. Do not have any other gods before me. But let's get back to it. So, game of the week, I don't know. Well, the early game of the week, I think, will be the Steelers versus Jets. Because you got Aaron Rodgers going back to the Jets to see what he can prove. See if he's really the real Aaron Rodgers that everybody thinks he is. Me, personally, don't know. Haven't seen him in preseason play at all. I don't think he played this preseason. But we'll see. He's going against the Jets. It's in New York. The spread right now, for those who worried about the spread, is 2.5. Pittsburgh by 2.5. Point spread is 37.5. We'll see how it goes. Aaron Rodgers going back to the Jets. Will he go there with something to prove, or will he just, play like he's supposed to play? Now, for the Jets, quarterback they have is Justin Fields. Ooh. And here's the thing. See, I think the NFL does this like on purpose, kind of, sort of. When they set the schedules, when they find out who's going where, they kind of put those little rivalry games, not really divisional games, but kind of rivalry games, like one player came from this team, or this player used to play for them, or, whatever it is. But that is crazy because Aaron used to play for the Jets and Justin used to play for the Steelers last year. So we'll see how it goes. Will it be a good game? The Jets, I don't know how great they are. Haven't heard too much about them. They might be decent, but with Justin at quarterback, he'd have to show me something to show me that he's better than he's been. Now, if you notice, Justin Fields went from the Bears starting quarterback. Then he went to the Steelers starting quarterback and got beat out by Russell Wilson. So that kind of tells you something right there. Not putting no shade on Russell Wilson, but it's telling me that Justin didn't have what it took to keep that starting job. So now he's at the Jets. And at the Jets, I don't know. Let's see how good he is. So who's his backup at the Jets? So Justin Fields, his backup is Tyrod Taylor. Taylor been in the league 15 years. So Justin, show me something. Show me something, Justin. Justin's been in the league 5 years, 3 different teams in 5 years. What does that say? You can make the argument and say that it's the system, that maybe he was in the wrong system and he couldn't get it together. Or you can make the argument and say that he's just not that good. For me to sit here and say that, I can't really say it. You hear the media, you hear the critics, you hear from the camps saying how if he's picking up the offense, or he's not, he's not getting the offense. It's not clicking for him. So who's to say how good he could be? But he's been in this is his third offensive system, so we'll see how it goes. But if he can't pick it up, there's a thing, and it's not a label, but it's something that happens. It's like you're good, but you're not good enough. So they make you a backup. So you end up being a backup quarterback the rest of your life. And Justin, if he doesn't prove anything with the Jets, I would say my prediction is I would give him like maybe the first 3 games. And if he look horrible in the first 3 games, I guarantee you they'll put in Tyron Taylor and see what they got in him. And Justin might be stuck to the bench. So that's what the New York Jets. As far as the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got Aaron Rodgers. Like I said, we'll see what he got. We'll see what he has in his tank. Does he have anything left in his tank? And I don't know. It's hard to say. Let's see what he has in his tank. It's hard to say what Aaron Rodgers has in the tank. We'll see. Mason Rudolph is his backup quarterback. Now, Aaron, this is going into his 21st year. Aaron Rodgers, this is your 21st year in the NFL. Does he still have that magic? Who knows? But his backup is Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thomas. So we'll see. Same thing. I think it's the same thing with him and Justin. Same thing. First couple of games, we'll see how it goes. Now, Mike Tomlin is that no-nonsense kind of coach, though. So will he pull the plug on Aaron Rodgers if Aaron's not doing it well? Or will he just go ahead and let him run? Me knowing the way Mike Tomlin coaches and the way the Steelers organization is ran, they might pull a plug on him if he's not looking the way he should be looking. Now, Steelers are an organization that doesn't take no flack. They don't believe in. Well, let me put it like this: Steelers organization is a sound organization. In the past, maybe 25 years, they've had 3 coaches, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And check me if I'm wrong. Hit me up at rayosports0905@gmail.com. Once again, that's rayosports0905@gmail.com, and let me know. But I believe in their history, as long as I've been watching football, they've had 3 coaches. They've had Chuck Noll, they've had Bill Cowher, and then they had Mike Tomlin right now. So they don't believe in turnover of coaches. They believe in sticking with one guy for as long as they can and give him the talent he needs and see how it works out. And after a while, I think they end up saying, it's not the coach, it's the players. So that's the kind of organization they run. And a lot of organizations that run like that are successful as far as fan base is concerned. They got the pedigree of Super Bowls in their arsenal, but they also have a pedigree of a winning formula, a championship. So that's what we'll go on in there. The other game of the week that I'm looking at that might be pretty good, New York Giants. Will the New York Giants, will that game be pretty good? Who knows? No, I don't think the Giants versus the Commanders. Will that be good? Nah. I don't know. The Giants have Russell Wilson at quarterback. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. If it's that good, I'll have my take on it, but I probably won't watch it. I'm not a Giants fan. I'll catch it if it's on, but not really. But I'm going to try to find my game, Niners versus Seahawks. Now, Giants versus the Commanders, have the Commanders are coming back with Jaden Daniels, the MVP from Rookie of the Year from last year. So we'll see how that goes. But that's it on that. Next game I'm dealing with Raiders versus Seahawks. The Niners versus Seahawks. That's the game of the week. That's my game of the week. We'll see how it goes. Seahawks have a new coach, and the Niners have the same. Did I say Raiders versus Seahawks? I'm sorry, I was wrong. I'm at the Niners versus the Seahawks. And the Raiders have a new coach. Don't they have a new coach? Yeah, they have a new coach. So for the Niners, for the injury report real quick for the Niners, this is a big thing that they said. Christian McCaffrey, questionable with calf strain. Jordan Watkins, Jordan James, other guys, but Christian McCaffrey is the biggest thing. This thing just popped up. And so down there they're thinking, how bad is he? Is he really that bad? Is he really banged up that much? Or what happened? Don't know. but CMC has been banged up the past couple of years, and the Niners um, have resulted in it. There's been problems behind them being banged up. Last year, Niners went 3-9 without him. They went 23-8 with him. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see if Christian plays this week. But for the Seattle Seahawks, that's the team I was looking at. They have a new owner. I mean, they have the new coach, and they also have a new QB because their coach. I don't know. No, their QB. I'm sorry, the QB got signed to the Las Vegas Raiders. That's what it is. I'm sorry. I got my brain just went real quick. But they signed with the Raiders, and now the Seattle Seahawks have Sam Darnold. They signed Sam Darnold as their starting quarterback, and we'll see how it goes. I like to say that we'll see how it goes. I think that's my catchphrase. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But you never know. You never know. It's going to be. We'll see what the Seahawks roster looks like. Seahawks roster. Yeah, they have Sam Darnold as their quarterback. They also have Drew Lock as his backup as well as Jalen Milroe, who is, if you don't know, he played for Alabama last year, and that was their draft pick last year. So as far as his wide receiver core, Cooper Kupp coming from the Rams, Torrey Horton, Jake Bobo, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Jackson, say that fast, 5 times. Jackson Smith and Jigba. Jackson Smith. Anyway, I ain't gonna say it 5 times fast because it ain't 5 times fast. But that was one of the things that I saw, and I think they have a new coach on their roster. Oh God, if I can get to it, I don't even know what it is. I don't know. But we'll see. We will see what they do next week. But we'll know. We'll know by next week. So that's my take on the NFL for this week. We'll see how every game plays out. I'll probably come back on maybe next week sometime and review the whole week. I'll probably do it at the end of the week. Do a review of the whole week. Now, bouncing over to the NBA real quick. Actually, no. Let me bounce. Let me reshuffle and go back. Let me put it in reverse, back up a little bit. Sorry, hold on. Keep your seatbelts on. Let me back up a little bit. WWE. Now, the WWE just signed a contract with ESPN. So now, which I just saw last night on ESPN News or SportsCenter, ESPN SportsCenter, I saw that they're showing WWE highlights, or like it's a sporting thing. It's a sports entertainment. That's what they call it, sports entertainment. But there are better storylines, and I'm a diehard WWE fan. So one of the biggest things last night that happened, well, 2 big things happened last night. One, Brock Lesnar came back again to ruin John Cena. If you don't know who John Cena is, look him up. John Cena at WWE. He's in his final year. He announced at the beginning of the year this is his final year of wrestling, that he's going to retire at the end of the year. So he's having all these final matches. And so they're trying to put these best matches together. Every time he wrestles, it's like the best match against the best person that's going to get the best ratings or best media ratings. So now they got Brock Lesnar coming back, and he has Brock Lesnar. Yeah, he's coming back again, and he's the one at almost the tail end of John Cena's career. He's the one that took the championship from John Cena and made him look crazy. If you didn't never seen that match, go to YouTube and look up John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar looked like he overpowered John Cena. Like, I know it's sports entertainment, but some of that stuff they showed is like, wow, look at this dude. But that's but the other big thing that happened is AJ Lee came back. AJ Lee. If you don't know who AJ Lee is, look her up. She is the wife of CM Punk. Now let me set the story for you real quick. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch married in real life. What wrestling does now is they take your real life and they implement it into the storylines, and it makes for good entertainment because people, they love it. They fall into it. So in wrestling right now, you have Becky Lynch, who's married to Seth Rollins. You also have Jimmy Uso, who is married to, God, her name just didn't pop in my head. But when it comes to it, I'll get to it. Naomi. Jimmy Uso is married to Naomi, and they're expecting a new baby. Congratulations to Jimmy and Naomi. Congratulations to you. But here's the thing: Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. They were going after CM Punk. Seth Rollins, he's the new bad person. And now his wife has joined him. And now it's CM Punk and Becky Lynch. Now, if you follow wrestling and you know wrestling history, they remind me of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Remember that? Remember they were the biggest thing in wrestling? They were the mean couple, the power couple. And they started this whole faction. And they had DX and they had other factions. They had the corporation and all that. So that's what I'm seeing with Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. I think that's the same kind of angle they're doing. So the thing was I think it was Monday night. Yeah, Monday Night Raw. CM Punk came out, and this was after the pay-per-view Clash in Paris, or what do they call it? PLE, Premium Live Event at Clash in Paris. And Monday night, Seth Rollins came out, was very upset because at Clash of Paris, Seth Rollins was going against CM Punk for the championship, the WWE Championship, World Heavyweight Championship. That's what they call it, WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And he almost had him beat. That's my dog barking in the background. Sorry about that. He had him beat. And then, out of the blue, somebody came out. And it was Becky Lynch. And Becky Lynch came out. Sorry, you can hear the dog barking for the last 5 minutes of this show. Shut up, Minnie. Shut up, Minnie. She ain't going to shut up. She's going to keep going because she wants to get out. But I'm almost wrapping this up. So anyway, getting into that, it's the CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. In CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Then at the end of the match, Clash in Paris, Becky Lynch showed up and cost CM Punk the championship. So CM Punk addressed it on Monday Night Raw. Becky came out, slapped CM Punk in the face. CM Punk made these words and said, if you don't cut this out, I'm going to take care of this. And everybody in the audience was chanting, AJ, AJ, AJ. They knew she was coming. So the whole week on social media, everybody was posting things saying, you think she's coming back? You think she's coming back? You think she's coming back? Everybody's like, no, he's going to get somebody else. He's going to get like Rhea Ripley or somebody like that to come help him. And everybody's like, no, it might be AJ. But then somebody came out and said, well, AJ Lee's not coming back because she's been out of wrestling because of a neck injury. So she probably won't be coming back. So there's the whole thing going on week. Then Friday Night SmackDown happens. Becky Lynch comes out, does her spiel, does her promo. And then CM Punk shows up. Gets in the ring with her. They go back and forth. You know, I'm kind of summing it up. They go back and forth. And then she slaps him again. And then when she slaps him, CM Punk said, okay, you know I don't hit women, but I found somebody who will. And then her music hits, bam. And AJ comes out. She's crazy. She's funny, but they said crazy is her superpower. She came out, you know, and now it's going to be a big thing. But I'm happy to see her back. AJ Lee's been missing for a long time. I'm glad to see she came back. And I'm looking forward to the matches that's going to happen between her and Becky Lynch. Because I'm sure there's going to be a match between her and Becky Lynch, or there might be a mixed tag with her and Becky Lynch versus Seth Rollins. With her and CM Punk versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. But that's it for today. The other thing I was going to talk about, but I only have like maybe 3 or 4 minutes, but we'll probably get into it next time, was the Kawhi Leonard Clippers thing with the endorsement thing, where one of the, I forgot the guy's name, podcast, but he came out with this information about when Kawhi Leonard first came to the Clippers, he was about to sign a contract. And I'm kind of summing it up a little bit again. He was selling for this contract where he was going to get X amount of dollars. He asked for X amount of dollars from the Clippers, and the Clippers said, we can only give you this much because of salary cap restrictions. And Kawhi says, oh, I want more. So this company comes in. I forgot the name of the company, comes in, and the Clippers owner invests like $50 million into this company. Right after that, or further down the line, maybe 3 or 4 months after they sign Kawhi signs with this company. This company gives him money. Now that raised the red. Maybe then it didn't raise the red flag, but for me, it raises a red flag. Okay, you just invested in the same company that your player now signed with, and the company gives him money to do nothing. That's the story. The company gave him money to do nothing. What I mean by nothing? I mean nothing. I mean they signed him. They signed him to a bonus, and he had to do nothing. He didn't do no appearances. He didn't promote no brand. He just got the money. So to the people out there, the the critics out there, they're saying that maybe it was a way for the Clippers to circumvent the salary cap restriction in the NBA to pay Kawhi the money he needed. We invest in his company. And it looks to me, this is my personal opinion, it's my podcast, Ray on Sports podcast, that the Clippers circumvented the system to pay Kawhi Leonard this money. What are your thoughts on it? We'll talk about it more once get more information next week. But as for now, that's the end of Ray on Sports. This is your host, Johnny Ray. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. You can catch me on Buzzsprout. You can catch me on Apple Podcasts. You can catch me on YouTube. You can also tell your smart speaker to play Ray on Sports. Once again, thank you for listening. Thank you for taking this ride. Take care, and God bless.